Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Look, life has battles. Strength isn't about comfort, it's about actually forging forward in the fight. And victories really come from staying the course and making the right adjustments. Today, we're going to step in the boots of a former Ranger to uncover what it really takes to be unbreakable. Welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, welcome, 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 everybody. Happy Tuesday. Look, I got a very special guest here. I got my brother, Sorrell Hudson, is in the house. Sorrell, thank you for joining us today, man. I mean, our platform is really all about helping people overcome challenges that they have, things that knock you down. And, we talk about this quite often. We get knocked down and people choose alternatives versus staying the course. And the alternatives just really make people unhappy. Temporarily, they're happy, but then they're always making another change, and then they're making another change, and then they're making another change, and they're never really truly happy. And so, I want to, ask you a few questions. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you for being here today. So, you were a former Ranger, correct? And how long were you in the Rangers program?
Brother Kevin, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. No problem at all. It's my honor to being here. And I was in there from 2007 to 2009.
Okay. As a ranger, now what do rangers do? What's their assignment? What's the purpose of rangers? What do rangers actually do on the battlefield?
So Rangers in general, their unit is like a quick reaction force to the world or whatever might be going on, and they do the rapid deployment. Their deployments are usually not a year, but 90 days, and it's constant. So what I mean by constant, you're usually rotating the 90 days between the three battalions. So first battalion go, second battalion go, third battalion go. I was in Third Ranger Battalion. That's based out of Fort Benning, Georgia. Second Battalion is based out of Fort Lewis, Washington, and then you got First Battalion that's out of Hunt Army Airfield, which is Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. And so once the rangers deploy, what are some of the things when y'all was going through your ranger training? What was three of the toughest things you guys did to prepare you for battle?
That's a good question. When it comes to the Rangers, everybody's there is in the elite physical shape. So you got the land nav course, things you do, and that's considerably, I guess you would say, simple. But none of the things you're doing when you're testing, you're in rare form. What I mean by that, you've been up for days, you've been up for hours, you ain't eating. So the land nav course may be hard. Or you got the combat water survival test, where you do a series of tests in full uniform with boots and rucksack and flak vest and your weapon. So, for example, you got a 15-meter swim down and back in full uniform, and you got to do like a side straddle hop swim with your weapon outside of the water, and then you go straight to the high dive and you dive in. You go into the water. I think it's like a 15-foot pool, and you go in and you got to take everything off before you come up, but you're just not fresh because you already woke up at 4:30 in the morning. They ran the dog out of you, did push-ups, and that event ain't until 9 o'clock in the morning. But you don't know what time they're going to do what, so you just never fresh. So it's always a mental game, and I would say in the Rangers it's probably 90% mental, 10% physical. Because, like I say, everybody there is in tip-top shape. You're not even gonna get there through the preliminary stuff without being in tip-top shape. So they're trying to make sure they'll break any of the weak out. They can't hack it mentally, which I think is a very good test because you need that for what you're seeing on the battlefield. The things are what you're seeing just to keep going when the things getting hard, when you're seeing stuff you don't normally see. You know, there's people getting shot, or you got blood, or whatever may be going on, just to keep moving on. So the training they go through, I really think is necessary, because they're definitely weeding out the weak-minded people.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm gonna point out a coaching point that's similar. Just like in the Rangers, in relationships, whether it's business or intimate relationship, there are things you have to do to prepare to be successful, because there are things you are going to see that you're just not prepared for. But physically, you have to be prepared. You have to eat. You need your rest. If you're, in a marriage, or if you're dating and you're looking to get married, I'm not talking about just hanging out, kicking it, and having some fun. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking relationships to another level, and you have to train. You have to know what your strengths is. You have to know the person's strengths. You have to know what their weaknesses are, and physically being prepared, keeping your body in shape, not being overweight. And I mean, sometimes people get overweight, but it's really about eating properly and, training your body so that you can be able to deal and be successful in a relationship. Like, not let yourself go, stay fit. I see, brother, you over there fit. I still try to stay fit, on this chapter 60. I still got that 60 and sexy campaign going on, trying to get it in and everything. And so, but that's important, that physical fitness part. Whenever you're dealing in any type of relationship, you have to take care of yourself before you go into any type of battle, whether it's on the battlefield or whether it's just in relationships, period. So that's a great coaching point that I want to be able to point out also. Because if you're not prepared in the Rangers, what would happen?
Someone dies.
That
Just to keep it short and sweet, and that's what it is. They're always talking about how important it is to stay put mentally. We know that that's the biggest thing, and that your body can keep moving regardless of what it feels like. So not so much you keeping your body ready, because like I say, we are in tip top physical condition, but it's the mental game, and then they harp on equipment, cleaning it, making sure it's battlefield ready, making sure all the knots that's supposed to be tied is tied, everything. So when you get on the battlefield, everything is second nature. When I put my kit together, my kitters will be my flak vest, my plates and stuff, my plate kit on it. Everything is in the order, so I know what I'm grabbing. It's second nature. It's always in the same place. Everything is in the same place. So the equipment is so big of a thing that we harp on, that we clean on, that we retape, that we re-knot all the time, and to make stuff that we do a lot of time on cleaning equipment and prepping. So not even more so keeping our bodies in shape, is making sure our equipment is in tip top condition and staying mentally sharp. That's what we do. The body's gonna, they showed us in school that your body gonna keep doing what you tell it to do. So after it's tired, after it haven't eaten, after it's wet, after it's cold, your body will keep moving. Once you learn that switch to click it off, it'll keep doing what you tell it to do. We didn't know that until you get to school. They breaking you all the way down to figure that out.
that's
Once you
good.
figure that out, there's no stopping you.
That's good, because that is true. Playing Big Ten ball, your body does keep going. Once your mind tells it to go, your body will fall in line. And I know that from running all the power trainings and, all the practice and getting banged, and you got to get back up and keep practicing and keep practicing. Then you got game on Saturday, and you got film on Sunday, and you got PTs on Sunday evening. And I mean, it's 7 days a week. And look, you tell your body to keep going, your body will keep going. It is the mental. And that's just like it is in relationships, whether it's personal or professional. What mental things are you doing to prepare so that when you experience a challenge, you're mentally prepared? Are you doing your weekly meetings with your spouse? Do you all have vision statements? Do you have goals that you can refer back to? Like, he has equipment that he has to do equipment check on, so that he know that the equipment is there all the time. And so that's super important. So I have another question. I wrote down a few questions. So when it comes down to having, so the U in unbreakable really stands for having an unshakable belief. So when it comes down to importance and belief in yourself and in the mission, with everything you see around you that's impossible, what advice would you give to help somebody train when if they struggle with self-doubt?
Self doubt. I don't know. That's a good question. What we do? We just we had the confidence that we can do anything. If you told us to go through that door, we can go through that door. But if you told us to go through the mountain, we believe we can go through the mountain. That's just how we looked at it. We know we can conquer it. What we doing? We going through the mountain? Let's do it. We already know how to get through there. We're walking with that same confidence as we're going through entrance in the door. Well, we're going to put a blast on there. We're going to put the breacher up front and go and continue and throw in the three banger, which is a flash bang, and continue the mission. So we don't think it's nothing that we can't do because we're like I said, we're a quick reaction force of the world. We had our rotations of deployments, but we were set up to be anywhere in the world within 18 hours. So we always had contingencies bags ready to go. I see bags and things like that. We just called a go bag. We always had that type of stuff ready, and we stayed in the sense of readiness. So to have no doubt, they weeded all that out because we never had no doubt about anything. So when it was a new mission or for a new building, depending on the intel that we had, we did rehearsals. And then from if it's a 7-man squad or whatever's going through that particular place, you know who knows the job? From 1 through 7. So from E7 all the way down to E1, if he's the squad leader, if he's pushing the force, everybody gets to turn to be the door breacher. Everybody gets to turn to learn point. Because if 3 people die, we still know the mission.
Right,
We're not
right,
lost. Everybody knows everybody else's job. And I've tried to implement those things in the civilian world, and they wouldn't have it. They was like, "Why would you need to know that?" I was like, "Why not?" If
right,
5 people call off for work, or, you know what I'm saying? God forbid, I'm saying like that, but what were you gonna do? I need to know what to do.
right,
For example, when I got on my first deployment, it was a low ranking, which was an E3 private first class. He was teaching me a language, as it was his second deployment. He was teaching me Pashto, which Pashto is the language where they speak in the native language in Afghanistan. So everybody knows stuff. And I was an E5 already. I was a sergeant because I had been somewhere before I went to the Rangers. I was in a regular Army unit. He only had been in the Rangers, but I was learning posture from a private. I couldn't believe it and how intelligent people was. They're not just door kickers. They're not just people that's putting rounds down range. These guys are intelligent. And you know what I'm saying? So, and they definitely mentally tough. So doubt, who talks about that? I mean, what are we saying now?
right, right. So then in on a professional world, when you switch back over, then it's important to have somebody like a coach, a consultant to let you know you can be successful in relationships, that you can excel in your career. This is how you do it. Here's what you practice and what you train on. And no, you cannot just stay at the same level. You're always prepared to elevate, to increase. And that's kind of what we're a part of with our coach, always letting us know, no, 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 there's levels in business and there's levels in relationships, and you can be successful if you do A, B, and C. You just have to get the right coach and the right training so that you know that there's nothing that you can't do when it comes down to relationships, whether they're personal or professional.
Yeah, absolutely. And you feel the most confident by doing what? Doing it. So the more you do it, the more second nature, the more it's like what we call is muscle memory. So we shoot so much that we already know that position that comes up to the eye when it hit that cheek. When that bust
Right,
out, we just that's the feeling. We always looking for that feeling. It's muscle memory. Just like if
right,
somebody jump at you, what is your action? Is your action to move? Is your action to grab your secondary? What is your action? So what is your muscle memory action? So we rehearse and practice so much of going through that. We don't have no doubt about anything because we do a lot of walkthroughs. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So we learn slowly, but when it's becomes so slow and when it comes so smooth, it's fast because it's like liquid. It's like liquid as we walk through and hit that building. So we don't worry about speed. We making sure we get everything smoothly. And when it's smooth, it's fast.
right,
For example, I
right.
can tell you about this. So Rangers robbed a bank. I ain't gonna tell you where it was located because somebody might know the story. But so Rangers robbed a bank. They did it in less than 90 seconds. The only reason they got caught, and these guys all it was three guys, all of them was less than 22 years old. And they did it in less than 90 seconds. The only reason they got caught because one of the cameras picked up the license plate. But no, they hit them so fast. And you know what you always got with us is the element of surprise. We ain't giving
Right.
you time to think. We ain't giving you time to react. The police can't come. Security guard ain't thinking. Because the element of surprise ain't never changed for years. It's always what? The best attack. That's why Rangers, we do this. We reverse schedule. So we don't do no any missions in the daylight. Now the regular army, because I'm deployed with both, they just walking out there at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, walking out there doing missions. We do everything under cover of darkness. We put our nods on because the element of surprise is still the best attack.
Right, right. So okay, so we got a little time, a little bit more time left. So let me just ask a question. What we talked about is a lot right there, and it's important to recap that in terms of the muscle memory, in terms of the mental toughness, in terms of practicing and having someone coach and tell you that no, it's not that you can't do, no, you can do it. Here's what we're going to do to train to get prepared. If I want to transfer those skills over to two areas, professional relationships or professional career, and then personal relationships in an intimate relationship. So when it comes down to career, what sort of things have you practiced that you took from the Rangers that you transferred over to your career journey?
Everything. And the most thing is practicing on your craft, and that craft can be your faith. So if I've been in church and lived for God for 21 years, right now today I haven't done enough until my day has come. So you keep doing it on a daily basis. If I'm married, so I did the first 5 years, wonderful. Do I stop? No, it's a daily journey. Same thing in the range. It's a lifestyle. You never stop there. So I've never stopped there with any job, with anything. I just transfer it over. And that's how I outshine my peers just by outworking them. Say for example, like when I went to the Rangers, I was originally a cook. I've been to 3 culinary schools. I still believe I could learn something about cooking. I could learn something there. Same thing we did in the Rangers. When I do demolitions, when we doing breaching, we walking through urban warfare and we doing different things like that. We keep practicing on those skills till all of them become second nature. But you never stop training. You never stop trying to get better at your faith. You never stop trying to get better at your job. You never stop trying to get better at your marriage. That's a day by day journey that you gotta stay coachable, and keep evolving. Because what works yesterday, or 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, might not be the same for today. So you keep working on your
Oh,
craft.
that's
You gotta do
good.
that.
You're going to need to say that again. You're going to need to say that again.
So what works yesterday, and yesterday could be 3 years ago, 7 years ago, or 10 years ago, might not be good enough for tomorrow. So that's why you keep working on it, and so you can evolve to keep being a better person, whether it's with your faith, whether it's with your marriage, whether it's with your professional job, whether it's with your Rangers, what I was doing, we always worked on it.
Wow. Wow. That's gold. That's gold. And as you can see, everybody that I've interviewed and brought on the podcast has kind of talked about the same exact formula for success. And success isn't this wide umbrella. It's not that you can't do different things to be successful, but to really be super successful, it's only a small area to get through. And you really have to become comfortable with being bored. Doing the same thing over and over seems like it's boring, but that's really a success formula. So you have to learn to enjoy and get comfortable with being bored. You can still have excitement, but you cannot do the mental toughness training. You cannot not get prepared on a daily basis. Yeah, you can take time off and go have some fun, but you need to get right back at it, because this is the formula that helps people be unbreakable, and success at a whole different level. And so we got time for one more question. If you had to, what would be what would be what would be a piece of advice you would want to leave the listeners with if they could do one thing to help them elevate no matter what situation they were in, what would that be?
2 words. They can help in any of those things, and I'm saying your faith, professional job, your marriage, or they can help me in the Rangers. And it did. Staying coachable. There's no matter what I did for how many years, even when I was already my rank, when I had been to certain amount of schools, when I had this amount of training, I always feel I can learn more. So like I said, I was over there learning the language from a lower ranking. Now, if I wouldn't even humble enough to even receive that, because I knew it all, I wouldn't been paying attention. Because some people got that they can't learn from certain people that's younger than them. They can't learn from lower ranking. They can't learn from somebody that's haven't been in churches longer. They can't learn from somebody that haven't been in their marriages longer. They can't learn from somebody that doesn't have kids. See, but I take all those things as learning tools, just hearing and how they say something, how they visuals. Say for example, someone's younger than me in the kitchen, and then we doing chef work, culinary work. The way they looking at butchering this pig or goat, whatever it may be. Oh man, that's a different skills. The way they come down that street, I can learn something from there. Or the way these people training their kids, even though I got 2 kids that's already graduated high school, I can learn something there because they got a different point of view. Oh, we need to do this in church because this will make us better. Just staying coachable, no matter your level. No matter if you're a high ranking officer, no matter if you're a high ranking NCO, which is a non commissioned officer in the military, no matter if you've been married for 23 years, you can learn something because people are changing, situations are changing, time is evolution, things is happening different. So staying coachable because I have my oldest is 19 and I have a 4-year-old. The times are different. I'm not teaching the same thing. But me not thinking I know it all, I'm trying to stay coachable so I'll be the best father I could be or the best husband.
That's
So
good.
if you stay coachable, I don't think you can go wrong in any situation or no matter what you're doing because you just don't want to get to a spot or a place where you don't feel like you can learn anything.
That's good. That's real good. Hey, brother, thank you for being with us today. Hey, look, in life, we're going to experience challenges. And, there's a lot of different things to do to address them. Some has consequences and some things do not. And Breakable is about giving you tools, tips, and techniques to help you elevate your game to a whole nother level, minus the consequences. And with that being said, the tools that we talked about here today: remain coachable, practice your mental toughness, keep reading, keep studying, stay involved, be prepared. And just remember this: it's what you do before the storm and after the storm will decide whether you stay broken or remain unbreakable. That's my time, y'all. Brother Sorrell, thank you very much. See y'all next time.
It was my pleasure. Yes, sir.